Have you seen those beautiful, delicate vellum florals and asked yourself, how do I create those? Today I'm going to show you how you can color and shape them to create beautiful dimensional botanic orchids. You can apply this principle to any of the other flowers. After we've done that, we're going to take the orchid and shape it into a fun daffodil. And you can kind of see these, get a little sneak peek of what we're going to be doing right here. And this is the daffodil. One thing I absolutely love about the botanical orchid collection is you're going to be able to pair this together with many different colors. Think about when you go to the supermarket and you see so many different colors and styles of orchids. And you can take that, place it on a windowsill to create a beautiful scene, and you can transfer that to a card. So join me and we'll learn these techniques together. The Botanic Orchid comes in this die and stamp set. There are 3 different sizes that you can choose from. They're beautiful paired together to form a bouquet. First of all, to stamp these, I stamped these with the Frost White color box ink, and then I heat emboss them with the Seafoam White Ranger embossing powder. If you use that combination, it will not flake off as much as some combinations of like using Versamart. So to color this, typically I like to color from the back. So you have the heat embossing powder on the front. You just flip that around, and then we'll use our sponge dauber and just kind of start in the center, and it doesn't matter if you go outside the edges. Now you'll see that I haven't cut these out yet. It's just a tad easier if you color first. All of your elements are still intact with the paper, so you don't really have to shift them around, and they won't move or fall out of your hand if you just kind of color them like this. So you can do this on the back. It's a little bit difficult to judge how bright and vibrant it is. So if you want to add a little bit more color, since there's a lot of shading in the middle area, you could just go over the top of the embossing powder and just add a little bit more color into that center to just add a little bit extra vibrance. So as you can see, it's very quick and easy to add that color to the vellum. To shape the orchid, you're going to want to use the 8mm tip. So you'll start with the inside part first and just kind of do a half circle around the very edges. And since you're shaping on vellum, you just want to make sure that you just shape or press down a little bit lighter. So for this one, this is the bottom piece. You'll want to flip that stamp side down and then use your large 8mm stylus tip and just go back and forth and shape each petal. So you'll do that on each one and flip it right side up and press that down in the center. And then to shape the center piece, you'll just go back, use a 4mm tip from the front. This is on the embossed side. Just kind of go back and forth and then just press down in the center. And this is ready to glue together. I'm going to move these to the side and bring in one of the medium size. This one I already glued around the edges so that that holds its shape. And then we're ready to glue that in the center of your base. So when I do the, when I glue the orchid together, I'll kind of have it where the top is pointing up. I like to use my stylus to kind of press that together. And then once you're finished with that, you're ready to add the center piece. So I'll just kind of grab that, add some glue. And I like to kind of fold this together. Pop this into the center, use your stylus, just kind of hold that a little bit, and that will dry, and you'll have the orchid. You can also create beautiful daffodils with the orchid. So to shape this, what you're going to want to do is take this rounded center piece, stamp and color it however you like, and then I like to spray a little bit of water, just mist it on the back because we're going to rumple or kind of crimp the edges a little bit more. Use your curling tip, and I like to start on the right side of the flower and just kind of do a piercing technique, or kind of a folding technique. You're really kind of just bending the flower to your right. So you'll do that to each of to each side, just as close together as you can. This is really going to help you create a very tight pleated pattern. So we'll do that pretty much all the way to the edge, and then once that's kind of crinkled, it reminds me of doing a little bit of like a pie crust, I guess. You'll pinch that together. You see how easily that just folds together. Now this is wet, so what I like to do is as soon as I have kind of crimped this edge, I will go back and lay this aside to dry. So once you've done the edge like this, you do the opposite edge, and then you lay it aside to dry. Once it's dry, I like to take the tip of my stylus and just kind of curve it over the back of my stylus a little bit, and just press down in the middle if the center is not very circular. So for this one, I already glued together the edges of the daffodil, and then what you'll do is just offset the petal, just bring this up and wrap that together to create that daffodil center. And then you can also crimp the tips of the bottom piece of the orchid and pair two of those together, add a stamen, and you have a beautiful daffodil floral. The window die within this collection is absolutely fun to use, so interactive, and you can use it a couple different ways. So here it is with all the different pieces. Here it's open. Here we left out this center piece, and I kind of wanted to show you how you can cut out with this die. So if you wanted to recreate this piece, what you'd want to do is just lay down your die. And I like to take this piece, just cuts out the edge, so you could cut it out just like this to create a frame like you see here. So once I have this down, I like to just keep that position in the center and use my tape, just press that down, and then I'll use, if I want to have the centerpiece cut out as well, just lay that down and position this in the middle. And then I'll maybe secure that more towards this side. So once you've done that, you can use all three pieces, or you could just use one piece from the entire die, but they work beautifully together. So we'll run this through the machine. I am going to add a shim to the top just because this is an intricate die, and I want to make sure that the blades give enough pressure. So we'll just run that through, and that should cut that right out. Once it's through one time, I'll go back and run it through again, and we'll bring this out, just kind of check the back, and you'll see that's beautifully cut out. So when you bring this out, you'll see that there's multiple different pieces. So we'll release this. Since we use this middle piece, it cut out this inside. Just kind of release the tape, and you can kind of use your stylus to kind of help start the releasing of the die in the back. And once that's kind of pulled, you can just kind of pull that out and release that from your die. I always like to kind of press down a little bit, and then you have this popped out. And then from this side, you have this piece will cut out very nicely. It'll pop out very quickly. So this is the inside piece. It looks like my tape was overlapping a little bit, and then you can just pop out these pieces. And as you can see, you can create a lot of different styles using the window, different ways with the interactive pieces. You can create the beautiful orchids with the Botanic Orchid Stamp and Die, or you can create it into these daffodils that I was showing earlier. This was done with a butter, and then this one was done with a different, more like a green colored ink. This one is a completely different, more like a wild rose, so you can really have some fun and see what different styles of florals you can come up with using the Botanic Orchid. This one is done in purples. So here we really just crumpled the base of the orchid. Here we use the center of the orchid. So that actually kind of creates like a carnation style floral. With this card, I also use this base piece, which comes from the Botanic Orchid Wishes Stamp and Die. And that one you'll see here in the back. That's a beautiful kind of anchor piece for the orchid. This also has a For My Friend stamp. This saying I used on the background of this card, and you'll see that I have these pieces cut out. That was cut out with the Botanic Orchid Bouquet die, so that one coordinates with this stamp, and you have the saying in the background. Here I took the window die and cut it into pieces to create this beautiful oval and use the corners. So that makes it look completely different. With this Botanic Orchid Bouquet die, you'll also have this stamp set that coordinates with it, along with this sentiment. This hummer is absolutely beautiful, and I love to use it the leaves cut apart like we did on this card. Or you can also use it as an anchor like you see in the background of this card here, and then I just kind of continue the formation of the orchids. So here we use the window in the background just cut out of the cardstock. This was the inner part of the window. And then this bouquet is beautiful, done in kind of a soft blue. I used the little hummingbird border, just cut the hummingbirds apart, and then I used the outer piece of the Botanic window die. And then the Regal Hummingbird stamp and die is a perfect set to kind of complement the orchids. So you'll see the different small humming borders. Here's a small orchid spray, and then you have this beautiful bird as well. That one was used on this particular card here. We have the beautiful bird just stamped in a rosebud memento ink, paired with some of the orchids. This one was the small one, and that was using this stamp I used a lot as a background piece and added the little prills to the top. And then this is the Botanic window, so you have 3 different pieces. So just depending on how you cut this out, you can create completely different scenes and utilize the sentiments and the hummingbirds with it as well. Then to finish it off, I'll pull this apart and you can see the beautiful paper. And this has some vibrant magentas, greens, some blues. These have some card front panels. And then you also have your journaling strips, your journaling tags. You have some main background papers. So these papers are perfect to pair with your Botanic Orchid stamps, dies, and the window die cut as well. You're going to have so much fun trying out these techniques. Just remember, when you do it the first time, if you have any issues, just rewatch the video a couple times till you feel comfortable with it. I would love to see what you create, and you can share your projects with us on Facebook. You can also leave comments below. If you need any of the products shown in the video, you can just click on the video description below, and we have links that will take you to those. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you next time.